Okay, good much.
यस्य प्रसादान् जगति दुतोऽपि ध्यायशिवास्तस्य यशस्वी वन्दे गुरु श्रीचरणसन्निधम् ध्यायस्तु वास्तस्य यशस्वी वन्दे गुरु श्रीचरणसन्निधम् जय जय गुरुदेव 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 जय जय गुरुदेव जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवसदि गौर भक्तवृंद श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य नमस्ते नरसिंहाय प्रह्लादनाददायिने हिरण्यकाशिपूर्वक्ष शीलकङ्कालकालये तो नरसिंह हरतो नरसिंह यतो यतो यामि ततो नरसिंह बहिर्नरसिंह हृदये नरसिंह नरसिंहमदिं शरणं प्रपदे तव करकमलवरे नखं करबुद्धशृङ्गं ललिता हिरण्यकशिपु तनुभृङ्गम् केशवधृता नरहरिरूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे केशवधृता नरहरिरूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय नरसिंह देव जय नरसिंह देव नरसिंह देव जय नरसिंह देव जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद स्वस्थ भक्ति विग्रह सर्वस्व भगवान की जय भक्त प्रहलाद महाराज
देखिए
Namaste Narasimhaya Prananalaladayine Hiranyakashipurvakshaha Shilakankanakalaye Chito Nasimha Bhagato Nasimha Yato 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 Nasimha Vahir Nasimha Narasimhamalim Sharanam Prapade Tava Karakamalabhare Nakam Adbhuta Shingam Dalita Hiranyakashipu Danubhinga Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Singh Hare Singh Hare Singh Hare Jaya Singh Hare Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Prahlad Maharaj Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada समस्त भक्ति विनम्र सकल सिंह देव भगवान की जय भक्त श्रोमणी प्रहलाद महाराज की जय जगत प्रभु की जय नमो नमः श्री कृष्ण प्रेयसी नमो नमः Aj Radha Krishna Seva Pavo Tei Abhilashi Namo Namaha Ye Tomara Sharanala Tara Vancha Purna Kripa Kari Kara Tare Vrindavanavasi Muraya Velasha Velas Kunjadiyoba Dayane Haribo Sada Yogagaru Parasi निवेदन धर सखीरानुगत करो सेवाधिकार दिए कर निज जिन कृष्ण दास को जिन कृष्ण दास को ये नमुरा श्री राधा गोविंद में सदा ये नवासी श्री राधा गोविंद प्रेम सदा ये नवासी तुलसी कृष्ण प्रेयसी नमो नमः अनेकानि च पापानि ब्रह्मत्यादिकानि च तानि तानि प्रणश्यन्ति प्रदक्षिणा पदे पदे अनेकानि च पापानि ब्रह्मत्यादिकानि च तानि तानि प्रणश्यन्ति प्रदक्षिणा पदे पदे अनेकानि च पापानि ब्रह्मत्यादिकानि Yes, good morning. भी टूट गया था, भी जोड़े हैं जाने दे। एक ही जैसा है, बंद बंद। क्या नहीं है उधर, Chapter 11, table content, Chapter 1, the curse upon the university. Maharaj Nimi meets the 9 Yogendras, Chapter 2. Chapter 3, liberation from the illusion. No. Srimad Bhagavatam 10 to 11, Chapter 3. Chapter 9, Maharaja Nimi meets 9 Yogendras. In this chapter, Narad gives instruction in Bhagavad Dharma to the faithful and inquisitive Vasudev Vai. Vasudev Vai recounting a conversation between Maharaj Nimi and the 9 Yogendras. Greatly eager to see Lord, Devarshi Narad resided almost exclusively in Dwarka. Vasudev, bewildered by the Lord's illusion potency, had previously offered worship to the Supreme Lord Ananta for the purpose of getting a son, but had failed to worship him for liberation. Once Narad arrived at the home of Vasudev, who worshipped him according to proper etiquette, greeted him respectfully and requested to hear about pure devotional services, which frees one from all kinds of fear. Narad praises Vasudev's fixed intelligence and then related the ancient history of the conversation between the 9 Yogendras, who were sons of Lord Rishabdev and Nimi, the king of Videha. Swambhu Manu's son was Priyavrata. His son was Agnidhara, whose son was Nabhi. Lord Rishabdev, the plenary portion of Vasudev, incarnated as the son of Nabhi. The oldest of Rishabdev's 100 sons was Bharat, an exalted devotee of Narayan by whose name this earth, previously called Ajnab Varsh, became famous as Bharat Varsh. 9 other sons of Rishabdev were widely known as the Navayogendras: Kavi, Havir, Antariksha, Prabuddha, Pipalayan, Avirhotra, Drumila, Chamas, and Karabhajan. They were well versed in knowledge of the self, fixed in their goal, and always striving for perfection. 9 other sons of Rishabdev took on the duty of Kshatriyas and became masters of 9 dvipas comprising Bharatvarsha. His other eight His other 89 sons became Brahmanas, expert in Smriti, doctrines who propagated the path of fruitive sacrifice. The 9 Yogendras, free to move without impediment, traveled everywhere as they wished. They were direct associates of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Madhusudan and Madhusudan wandered freely to give protection to the various planets in the universe. The human body can be lost at any moment, but it is still a very rare attainment. Still rarer is to get the association of the confidential devotees of the Lord of Vaikuntha while in this very human body. The association of such a saintly person, even for a fraction of a second, bestowed all benefits on a living being. Therefore, King Nimi offered the 9 Yogendras suitable seats, worshipped them, humbled himself with obeisances and joyfully inquired from them about Bhagavad Dharma. Bhagavad Dharma or pure devotional service to the Lord is the only means to ultimate good fortune for the soul. The Supreme Lord, being pleased by such service, offers his own self to the devotee. In answer to King's question, one of the 9 Yogendras, Kavi spoke as follows. Those means of advancement which are described by the personality of Godhead himself and which enable even foolish person easily to achieve perfect self-realization are called Bhagavad Dharma. This Bhagavad Dharma manifested as service to the lotus feet of the infallible Supreme Lord eradicates all fear for the living being. By abiding in Bhagavad Dharma, one will never stumble or fall, even while running with both eyes closed. Whatever one does with his body, mind, words, intelligence, consciousness, senses, and natural proclivities should all be offered to Lord Narayan. Living entities averse to the Lord's lotus feet come under the control of the Lord's illusory energy Maya. They forget the Lord's identity and are trapped by the illusion of identity with the temporary body. Under the sway of material attraction, they become greatly fearful. Thus, the best thing for them is to surrender their very life energy to a qualified guru and execute worship to the Supreme Lord, the absolute controller of the Maya, with pure devotion. Just as by eating one gradually appeases his hunger, and with every bite feels more and more satisfied.
Thanks. हाँ ये सुनो मैं अभी जा रहा हूँ माता जी भद्र पूर्णिमा और जन्माष्टमी है थोड़ा ब्लेसिंग दीजिए अच्छा करवाए भागवत से वितरण हो पाए हाँ 1000 सेट का टारगेट लिया है महाराज जी हाँ
पिछले साल से कितना किया?
हाँ पिछले साल 1200 किया था अब आशीर्वाद दीजिए ज़्यादा हो जाए महाराज जी इतना तो मेहनत करेंगे हाँ अकेले जाए और महाराज जी मैं दोपहर को वहाँ से अहमदाबाद जा रहा हूँ यशोमती नंदन जी का वो है ना अपीयरेंस डे है तो वो सेलिब्रेशन करना है गुरु पूर्णिमा है ना
Just as by eating one gradually appeases his hunger, and with every bite feels more and more satisfied and nourished, a surrendered devotee achieves detachment from all objects other than Krishna, gains direct personal experience of the Lord and relishes pure love for the Lord, all simultaneously. Next, Haber spoke, describing the different characteristics of the first class, second class, and third class devotees. One who offers prescribed worship with faith to the deity of the Lord Vishnu, but has no devotion for Vaishnavas and things related to Vishnu, is a materialistic devotee. One who shows love for the Lord, friendship for the Lord's devotee, mercy for the ignorant, and indifference for the enemies of Vishnu and the Vaishnavas is an intermediate devotee. And one who sees the presence of the Supreme Lord in everything and sees everything within the Lord is the topmost devotee. The first class devotees are described in the 8 verses, which conclude by stating that the first class devotee keeps the Supreme Lord perpetually fastened to his own heart and with ropes of affection. Lord Hari never leaves the heart of such a devotee. Text 1. Sri Shukdev Goswami said, eager to engage in the worship of the Lord Krishna, O best of the Kurus, Narad Muni stayed for some time in Dwarka, which was always protected by the arms of Govinda. Purport. In the second chapter of this canto, Bhagavad Dharma or pure devotional service to Krishna is explained by Narad Muni to Vasudeva, who had inquired with devotion. Narad Muni cites a conversation between King Nini and the Jayantyas. According to Jiva Goswami, the word Abhikshnam indicates that although Narad Muni was frequently sent by Lord Krishna here and therefore various pastimes such as inquiring about the affairs of the world, Narad continuously returned to reside in Dwarka. The word Krishnopasan Lalasa indicate that Narad was very eager to be near Krishna and worship him. Because the curse of Daksha, Narad is never allowed to live continuously in one place. Sridhar Swami, however, has pointed out Na tasyam sapadeha prabhava. In Dwarka, there is no influence of curses or other such as evils. Because Dwarka is the abode of Supreme Personality of Godhead and is always protected by his arms, as shown by what Govinda Puja Guptayam. The conditioned souls are struggling within the kingdom of Maya against the cruel law of material nature, such as birth, death, old age, and disease. But if such conditioned souls have the good fortune to enter the city of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whether Dwarka, Mathura, or Vrindavan, and live there under the direct protection of the omnipotent arms of the Supreme Lord, Krishna, they will experience the unlimited transcendental bliss of real life, which is eternal and which is meant to be lived in the personal company of God. Text 2. Translation. My dear King, in the material world of conditioned souls are confronted by death at every step of life. Therefore, who among the conditioned souls who would not render service to the lotus feet of Lord Mukunda, who is worshipable even for the greatest of liberated souls? Purport. The Lord Indriyavan is significant in this verse. Indriyavan means possessing senses. Although we are conditioned within the material world, by the mercy of Supreme Lord, we are awarded a human body, which possesses distinct senses such as the eyes, ears, tongue, nose, and skin. Generally, the conditioned souls use these senses in a false attempt to exploit the material nature for sense gratification. But our material senses and their objects are temporary, and it is not possible to become peaceful or happy in the attempt to gratify our temporary senses. Within the temporary sense objects offered by Maya, the illusory energy of the Lord, in fact, our strenuous endeavor to satisfy the material senses inevitably bring exactly the opposite result. Namely, material suffering. A man is attracted to a woman. Being sexually aroused, he marries her. And soon there is a family that requires ever increasing support. In this way, his innocent and simple life is ended. And he spent a major portion of his life working hard like an ass to support the demand of his family. In the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Lord Kapila described very clearly that in spite of the exhausting work of a man performed throughout his life, his family is ultimately dissatisfied. And when the exhausted father reaches old age, the irritated family members look upon him just as farmers look upon an old and useless ox. Sometimes the sons dream of receiving their father's money as an inheritance and secretly wish for him to die. Nowadays, people strongly resent the trouble of caring for elderly parents and therefore send them to an institution where they die lonely and neglected after a life of hard work for their so-called loved ones. One doctor in England is seriously proposing euthanasia for elderly persons who are no longer productive. Nowadays, some people desiring material sense gratification but hoping to avoid the inconvenience of family life try to enjoy free sexual relations with women without the trouble of marriage. Through birth control and abortion, they eliminate thus disturbance of caring for children. In this way, they hope to enjoy material sense gratification without any material impediment. By the law of nature, however, such persons become bound in network of sinful reaction by avoiding their real duty to the Supreme Personality of Godhead and by thoughtlessly causing violence and suffering to the others for increasing their own sense gratification. Caught in a network of impious activities, they drift further and further away from their original pure consciousness and gradually lose all power to understand the law of nature. Next verse. Text 3. Translation. One day the sage among the demigod Narad came to the house of Vasudev after worshipping Narad with suitable paraphernalia, seating him comfortably and respectfully bowing down to him. Vasudev spoke as follows. Text 4. Shri Vasudev said, My lord, your visit, like that of a father to his children, is for the benefit of all living beings. You especially help the most wretched among them, as well as those who are advanced on the path towards the Supreme Lord. Uttam Shloka. Shall I do purport? Purport. Vasudev hearing described the glories of Narad Muni. The words Kripnanam Yatha Pitror Uttama Shloka Vartana Pitror Uttama Shloka Vartamanam are significant. Kripnanam refers to the most wretched persons, whereas Uttam Shloka Vartamanam refers to the most fortunate. Those who are advanced in Krishna consciousness, Sridhar Swami has stated, Tatha Bhagavad Rupasya Bhavato Yatra Sarva Dehinam Swastya Iti. The word Bhagavad Rupasya indicates that Narad Muni is an expansion of Supreme Lord and that his activities therefore bring immense benefit for all living beings. In the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Narad Muni is described as manifestation of the mercy of Supreme Personality of Godhead. There it is stated that Narad is specially empowered to give instruction to the art of devotional service to Krishna. Narad is specially able to advise the conditioned soul as how they can dovetail their present activities with the devotional service to of Krishna, without unnecessarily disrupting their present life. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati has defined the word Kripan by quoting from the Brihat Aranyak Upanishad 3:9-10. Etad aksharam gargi avidit vasamsi lokat preti sa kripana. O daughter of Gargacharya, he who leaves this world without learning about the infallible Supreme is Kripan or miser. In other words, we are awarded the human form of life so that we may understand our eternal blissful relationship with the Supreme Personality of God. As is indicated in the verse 2 of this chapter by the word Indriyavan, the human body is specifically awarded to that we may serve the Supreme Lord Krishna. This human form of body is the greatest fortune because the highly evolved intelligence of human life enables us to understand Krishna, the absolute truth. If we are unable to understand our eternal relationship with God, we shall derive no permanent benefit whatsoever in present life, nor can we ultimately benefit others. One who receives a great treasure but can neither use it himself nor dedicate it to others, nor dedicate it to happiness of others is called a miser. Therefore, a person who leaves this world without having understood his actual position as servant of God is called Kripan or miser. This verse states that Narad Muni is so empowered in the devotional service of Krishna that he can lift even miserly rascals out of their illusion. Just as a kind father goes to his child and wakes him from a distressing nightmare, our present materialistic life is just like a troublesome dream from which great soul as Narad can wake up. Narad can wake us. Narad Muni is so powerful that even those already advanced in devotional service to Krishna can greatly enhance their spiritual position by hearing his instruction as they will be given here in the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Therefore, Sri Narad is the Guru and Father of all living beings, who are originally devotees of the Lord, but who are now artificially attempting to enjoy the material world in the material bodies of human beings, animal, and so on. Text 5. Translation. The activities of demigod lead to both misery and happiness. The activities of demigods lead to both misery and happiness for living beings. But the activities of a great saints like you, who have accepted the infallible Lord as their very soul, result only in happiness of all beings. Purport. This verse clearly states that the pure devotees of the Lord, such as Narad Muni, are saintly persons, to the considered superior even to the demigods. The living beings empowered by the Supreme Lord to administer the entire universe. In Bhagavad Gita 3.12, it is stated, Estan bhogan vivo deva dasyante yagya bhavita ter dattana parad yebhyo yogum testena evasa. The demigods in charge of the various necessities of life, being satisfied by the performance of yajna, sacrifice, supply all necessities to man, but one who enjoys these gifts without offering them in return to the demigods is certainly a thief. In this connection, Srila Prabhupada has made the following comments regarding the demigods. The demigods are empowered administrators of material affairs. The supply of air, light, water, and other blessings for maintaining the body and the soul of all living entities are entrusted to the demigods, who are innumerable assistants in different parts of the body of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Their pleasure and displeasure depend on the performance of yajna by the human being. In other words, by the Lord's arrangement, material prosperity depends upon the satisfaction of demigod. If the demigods are dissatisfied due to the non-performance or improper performance of sacrifice, they are empowered to impose various types of suffering upon human beings. Usually this suffering takes the form of either excessive or insufficient supply of material necessities. For example, sunshine is a necessary for life, but if there is excessive heat or insufficient heat from the sun, we suffer. Excessive or insufficient rain is also a cause of suffering. Thus the demigod bestow their happiness or suffering upon human beings in accordance with the performance of sacrifice. As stated here, however, great saintly persons such as Narad Muni are always merciful to all living beings. Titikshava karunika suhrida sarvadehinam ajat satrava shanta sadhava sadhu bhushana. The symptoms of a sadhu are that he is tolerant, merciful, and friendly to all living entities. He has no enemies. He is peaceful. He abides by the scriptures, and all his characteristics are sublime. Bhagavatam 10-3, chapter 25, verse 21. Srila Prabhupada, in his commentary on this verse, has portrayed the sadhu as follows. A sadhu is described above is a devotee of the Lord. His concern, therefore, is to enlighten people in devotional service to the Lord. That is his mercy. He knows that without devotional service to the Lord, human life is spoiled. A devotee travels all over the country, door to door preaching. Be Krishna conscious. Be a devotee of Lord Krishna. Don't spoil your life in simply fulfilling your animal propensities. Human life is meant for self-realization or Krishna consciousness. These are the preaching of a sadhu. He is not satisfied with his own liberation. He always thinks about others. His most compassionate personality towards all the fallen souls. One of his qualifications, therefore, is Karunika, great mercy to the fallen souls. While engaged in preaching work, he has to meet with so many opposing enemies, and therefore the sadhu or a devotee of the Lord has to be very tolerant. Someone may ill-treat him because the conditioned soul are not prepared to receive the transcendental knowledge of devotional service. They do not like it. That is their disease. The sadhu has the thankless task of impressing upon them the importance of devotional service. Sometimes devotees are personally attacked with violence. Lord Jesus Christ was crucified. Haridas Thakur was caned in 22 marketplaces. And Lord Chaitanya's principal assistant, Nityanand, was violently attacked by Jagai and Madhai. But still they were tolerant because their mission was to deliver the fallen souls. One of the qualifications of a sadhu is that he is very tolerant and is merciful to all fallen souls. He is merciful because he is the well-wisher of all living entities. He is not only a well-wisher of human society, but a well-wisher of animal society as well. It is said here, Sarvadehinam, which indicates all living entities who have accepted material bodies. Not only does a human being have a material body, but other living entities, such as cats and dogs, also have material bodies. The devotees of the Lord is merciful to everyone, the cats, dogs, trees, etc. He treats all living entities in such a way that they can ultimately get salvation from this material engagement. Sivanand Sen, one of the disciples of Lord Chaitanya, gave liberation to a dog by treating the dog transcendentally. There are many instances where a dog got salvation by association with a sadhu. Because a sadhu engaged in the highest philanthropic activities of the benediction of all living entities. Although the sadhu is not inimical towards anyone, the world is so ungrateful that even a sadhu has many enemies. What is the difference between an enemy and a friend? It is a difference in behavior. A sadhu behaves with all conditioned soul for their ultimate release from material engagement. Therefore, no one can be more friendly than the sadhu is relieving a conditioned soul. A sadhu is calm and he quietly and peacefully follows the principle of scripture and at the same time is a devotee of Lord. One who actually follows the principle of scriptures must be a devotee of God, because all the Shastras instruct us to obey the orders of the personality of Godhead. Sadhu therefore means a follower of the scriptural injunction and devotee of the Lord. All these characteristics are prominent in a devotee. A devotee develops all good qualities of the demigods, whereas a non-devotee, even though academically qualified, has no actual good qualification or good characteristic according to the standards of transcendental realization. Vasudev therefore has used the word sadhu to describe Narad Muni, indicating that the position of a devotee of the Lord is superior even to that of the demigods. Text 6. Translation. Those who worship the demigods receive reciprocation from the demigods in a way just corresponding to the offering. The demigods are attendants of karma, like a person's shadow, but sadhus are actually merciful to the fallen pauper. The word Chayeva Karma Prativa are significant here. Chaya means shadow. The shadow of the body precisely follows the movement of the body. The shadow has no power to move in a way different from the movement of the body. Similarly, as stated here, bhajanti ye yatha devan deva api tathevatan. The result of the demigods award to living beings correspond exactly to the living being action. The demigods are empowered by the Lord to follow precisely the particular karma of a living entity in awarding him happiness or distress. Just as a shadow cannot move independently, the demigods cannot punish or reward a living being independently. Although the demigods are millions of times are more powerful than a human being on earth, they are ultimately tiny servants of God, whom the Lord allows to play as a controller of the universe. In the fourth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 6:15, Prithu Maharaj, 6:15, an empowered incarnation of Lord, states that even the demigods are subject to punishment by the Lord if they derive from his laws. On the other hand, devotees of the Lord, such as Narad Muni, by their potent preaching, can therefore in karma of a living being by persuading him to give up his fruitive activity and material speculation and surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In material existence, one works harder under the bondage of ignorance. But if one becomes enlightened by association with the pure devotee of the Lord,
हाँ नया भेजा है वही पे बैठ जाए लेट जाए सब मेरा। वो सुनिए उस आपको खुल जाएगी लेफ्ट दिया था ना कौन सी ये आई थी? कैसी? नहीं नहीं चलना है 7:30 बजे। ट्रेन है।
जितना ज़्यादा क्लियर हो अच्छा है, कम एडजस्ट कर चला फिर अच्छा है, इतना ही नहीं ज़्यादा नहीं है। हमें ये नहीं करते वो इसको तो ऐसा करते ही नहीं, हो गया सब हो गया।
विभावरी से सा आलोक पावे इंद्राचली उठजी बोलो राम कृष्ण हरे बोलो हरि हरि मुकुंद मुरारी राम कृष्ण हरे नरसिंह वामन श्री मधुसूदन गजनंदन श्याम उतना घातना कैता बसाता जय दशरथी राम उतना घातना कैता बसाता जय दशरथी राम यशोदा गोविंद गोपाल यशोदा गोविंद गोपाल वृंदावन राधिका रामनो भागवत भुवन सुंदरवाला गोपीप्रियासना राधिका रमना भुवन सुंदरवाला गोपी मोहन बंसी बिहारी यशोदानंदना कंचन निकुंज कदम्ब कानना रास परायणा वृंदावती निवासी कदम्ब कानना रास परायणा वृंदावती निवासी आनंदवर्धन प्रेमन कीर्तन यमुना जीवनो तेरी यमुना जीवना तेरे परायणो मानस चंद्र चकोरा मानस चंद्र चकोरा नाम सुधारस गाओ कृष्ण यश राखो वतन मन मोरा नाम सुधारस गाओ कृष्ण यश राखो वतन जय जय विराट महाराज जय नरसिंह उग्रं विग्रहं महाविष्णुं ज्वलन्तं सर्वतोमुखं नरसिंहं भीषणं भद्रं तुम नमामि जय नरसिंह जय नरसिंह जय 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 श्री नरसिंह तव कर कमलावरे नखमभूतसिंहं दन्ताभिरण्यकशिपुं अनुभिन्नं केशवभीता नरहरिरूप जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय हे मनुष्य
जय नरसिंह देव जी की जय। पता नहीं यार, तो मुझे भी मेरे कंफ्यूजन हो रहा है कौन सी किला कहाँ पर जाएगी, ये मुझे आगे हमें
कभी समझ में नहीं आएगा। जैसे बोल रहा हूँ वैसे करना है। एक ट्रेन निकाल के साइड में रखना है, उसको करके फिर उधर रखे, दूसरा करके फिर उसको वैसे रखे।
ये बेटर
ठीक है।
मेरा इसलिए लाइक में फोटो
ये बोल रहा है मेरा भी लैब में फ़ोटो देख लीजिए। ये भी सेवा करते हैं, बहुत सेवा करते हैं, लाइब्रेरी और गुरु जी का सेवा। टाइम है अभी
6:45